has the best gun bunch week in the entire game.
In all of Madden 17.
All of Madden. And that's based on its audibles. That's based on all the plays available in its formation set.
Do you think gun bunch is the best passing formation in the game?
I think pound for pound, gun bunch week is the best passing formation in the game. Yes, I do.
And now, is this how Madden has evolved over the course of the season? Is it better now than it was at the start of the year? Because you could run a little easier at the start of the year, no?
No, well, here's the thing. The gun bunch week has been one of the best formations in Madden for years. And it's not just this year, it's always a good formation. Anytime you get 3 receivers close to each other near the line of scrimmage, it's a really good thing. But guys, right now we're going to take a look at this gun bunch week out of the Green Bay Packers playbook. In our opinion, we think this is the single best gun bunch formation you're going to find in the entire game.
And it's in so many playbooks, so don't get fooled. We're going to give you the plays you need out of this specific book in the blend. We'll show you exactly why it's a better gun bunch than, say, I've seen this in every other playbook. Here's what makes it so much better from the Packers.
For sure. And the reason, before we jump into picking our play and show you the scheme, we're going to talk about why it's great. So first and foremost, the run audible is the halfback base. You have your play action, which is PA post. You always need a powerful play action play, and that's one of the best plays in the game, has been for a long time. Then it gives you corner strike, which is one of the best plays in the game. You have halfback mid draw. Your quick audible up is stick, very important. That gives you a nice third and long option. You know it all too well. All those heartbreaking plays have converted against you. Then you get inside cross. Arguably one of the better plays in the game for attacking man-to-man coverage. Very underrated. It gets overlooked this year when you're playing in this year's game because not as many people run man, but every once in a blue moon, you will face someone that runs man, and this gives you a great play to attack it. You then have Z-spot. One of the better plays in the game, just similar to corner strike. And then you have verticals, of course, which is great. And then last but not least, 2 screens that go opposite of each other.
Very nice.
And then one of the best zone beating plays in the game in curl flat.
A deep way to get yards, and you don't see this curl flat corner style play in many gun bunches. You see it in some other formations, but not quite. It doesn't line up quite this way. So what play, if you're new, would you start out calling?
I would call curl flat. That would be the play that I would come out in. Now, I flip the formation, and the reason I flip it is because just like reading a book, Farles, you read from left to right. Now, I like to have my reads in Madden go from the left side of the field to the right side of the field. Now, this is primarily based on where are the most number of receivers on the field. Well, on the bunch, there's literally 3 guys on the left, and on the right side, you have the halfback and 1 receiver Cobb on the far right. So that means the bulk of my receivers will be running some type of routes, typically left to right. So that's why I like to flip it. I've done this for years. You don't have to do this. Everything will work the same without it being flipped, but this is personally just a personal thing that I like to do. Now, let's move the rock back a little bit. So the first thing I like to do, Farles, the reason I come out and curl flat is because it gives you the option to really beat any zone in the game. That's the primary reason why I come out in it. So if I think I get zone, I will run this play and make my opponent respect, hey, I can beat you downfield in a big way. Not just a little 2-yard, 3-yard drag over the middle, but I can beat you in chunk yards. So the way I like to run this play is I max protect coming out of the huddle. You should be using conductor quarterback. If you're going to go pass heavy offense, you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage if you're not going conductor quarterback. And if you're going to say, well, the conductor quarterbacks are too expensive for coin, I'll counter that as well. Say there's an Eli Manning, 83 overall gold, who is very adequate, doesn't have great throw power, but he's got conductor and he's got good stats.
I'll get you into AJ McCarron for 19K.
No, I know, I'm saying, but for cheap of the cheapest, that 83 Eli gets it done for you, and he's a great salary cap option too.
But I'd love to see you into Derek Carr for 100 if you're serious about your ultimate team. But back to the scheme here. You need conductor because you're going to be making a lot of hot routes on this.
All right, so the first thing you do is max protect, and the reason you want to do that is because you want to make sure you block your halfback, and you're going to hot route your tight end later on anyway, so you might as well just, in case they're bringing heavy pressure, you have the tight end blocked, so if you want to keep him in, you can, but then you can make an adjustment afterwards. So literally the reason behind that, it just kind of saves you a step if you think you need to keep that tight end in versus the halfback. That's why you're doing it.
And if you do it on your way to the line of scrimmage, you can still get a hot route in, right?
Yep. Absolutely. And the conductor, just so everyone's aware, conductor allows you to make 2 hot routes before your quarterback does like the pause, and you can't make another hot route.
Yeah,
Bang.
you don't see it in practice mode, but if you've been in game, you notice it.
Next thing up we do is we take the far left receiver Nelson, place him on a fade. That's coverage audible, the Y on Xbox One, triangle on PS4. Receiver's icon here is X, and then flick up on the right stick. Literally this right stick, we're gonna bang, flick it up, and you're gonna see he runs his route. And then from there, what I like to do is I like to place the tight end on an in, and then the far right receiver on a drag.
It's a new setup.
No, this is the setup right here. I like this a lot. This is the one.
It's nice.
So then from here, you need time in the poly pocket, and that is once you get the time in the pocket, you throw a left trigger pass towards the sideline because it'll get it over the head of the defender that was underneath, but it won't allow the deep safety or the deep corner to break on it.
Okay, and so you said left trigger, which is up here. What exactly does that do to your pass?
That gives you precision passing, so that allows you to place the ball wherever it is you choose, high, low, outside, inside.
Isn't it a low throw?
Yeah, but it allows you to make you can put it wherever you want to put it.
So
like
L trigger, and then
right.
and then are you aiming with the left stick?
I'm aiming about 7 o'clock. About 7 o'clock. 7:30. About 7:30.
That's when the bus comes.
Yeah. So here's again left trigger throw, and wait for him to clear, and then that time I should have waited a little longer. But the idea is you have to let him clear. You throw that left trigger throw, and you dunk it down. Now, if for instance, what I would recommend, unless it was 3rd and 20, I wouldn't throw that ball there. What I would do is I would throw this drag, because that guy's going to drift, and then you get the drag underneath,
right?
And then you go upfield. It's a cat and mouse game. You want to read what's the defense giving you, what's the are they playing hard flats, are they playing curl flats? Here you're in Mabel. Once you see it there, doesn't matter because it gets deep enough to beat it. We've talked about this tip many times before. And then the other options out of this, guys, are the tight end is a great crosser too. It's just an underneath pattern. It's just quick dink dunk. Be careful those underneath zones that will jump it if you're not careful.
Yeah, so if you're facing somebody, right, and they're bringing one of those popular blitzes where they set up an edge defender, blitz him, and then they maybe want a user here, you have to look to cook. So because you won't have time because the edge pressure, you can't wait on A because you're not going to have it, but you got to throw to R, B, or B and just get super reliable, just across the middle all day.
That's why they're there.
And that they have to be there. And
right.
I've noticed that every time I want to throw the post route across the middle, the deep one, if my opponent's sending any pressure, it's got to be a quick dump off underneath, and then you take it away later. So that's critical.
Yeah, and guys, there are other options to this setup. For example, I just showed you one right there. What I would do here is same setup in the beginning. You block the halfbacks max protect, you fade the far left, and then instead of putting Cook on an in, I put him on an out. And what you're going to find, you get a high-low read on that one defender, and he's going to break to the sideline, and it's a pretty consistent, like 5-yard gain to that sideline.
Kind of almost like a bench.
Right. So what ends up happening is you're now forced to run a hard flat. So you're forced to run the hard flat to take it away, and then that just opens up the A route even more. Like the A route just gets open. I mean, now I can rack it and feel confident.
And get even more yards. Right.
So this becomes a play that's really, really powerful, really effective. I want to show one other thing about what we do here. If you were to get a blitz off the right edge, the Y route is one of the best plays in the game. It's actually a really good route, especially against cover two zone with cross man. And I'll explain that in a second here. But this route, it turns and it sits, and there's no zone. If they blitz over there, there's no one over there to account for him. That hook that's supposed to be there, usually, but when a blitz comes, it's completely vacant, so it's wide open. So if you go to cover 2 for me for a second, cover 2 cross man is basically the equivalent of the edges, the seams, pretending that your opponent is blitzing out of them. So what you need to now do is you need to find ways to attack that area of the field. And one of the best ways to do that is with these underneath meshes and hit it quick. Now the problem is they typically will man them the drag receivers up, so it takes that read away. But what I've found is this route right here to Y, that's a very reliable route right there to be able to pick up little chunk yards against that style defense.
That specific spot on the field is the best area to attack against cover 2 in that style defense. Most of the time people hit it on drags and they wait until that area because it's before the flat, but it's past kind of all the middle contamination of a user defender. But that's another unique route that gets in there, and that's one of the only routes where the halfback goes there unless you put him on an out. Then you got to wave, then he bumps into the guy, and that's nice.
And one thing I'll note, don't change your defense here. This is a really bad route against any man, and it's a really bad route against coverage defense. Watch this. When you throw this, now there's a zone defender, and he goes to him, and he accounts for it, and then you're in trouble. So you really need to pay attention to the situation and go to that route in specific situations. Are you getting cover 2 cross man? Are you getting blitzes off the right edge? Well, if you don't flip the formation, it's actually really good because he'll run out into the area where all those edge blitzes usually come from. So just keep that in mind when you're running this play. Now, Farls, that's just one play, man.
Just one play,
One play.
3 setups or so.
So let's take a look and why I like this formation so much. We'll quickly go to verticals. I find verticals is a really good play for attacking cover 2 zone. The way I like to attack cover 2 zone, you don't have soft squats on this, and that's okay. But my setup for this is to streak the tight end, to drag Cobb, and depending on the situation, I'll block Starks. But in this instance, it's okay to leave him on the delay route. And basically, you're looking for one guy and one guy only. You're looking for this man right there. And it's a really tight window to throw it because the safety will collapse over there. But if you can get a good sideline lead throw, this is a route that's really effective. What happens is the flat zone that wants to run with the vertical, he then pays attention to the underneath drag.
Yeah.
So that's where he'll come in, and if he doesn't, he runs deep, then you throw to the drag. Now, I will say you need a lot of time in the pocket for this, otherwise you're going to get sacked.
Say I go to B and I'm like, enough of this drag.
Right.
That's where you get in trouble.
So stay off them, just so the YouTube crowd, when people come back and look at it, like, oh, that didn't work, you clicked onto it, man.
No, I'm just seeing so if I was to go hard flat, it's much more likely that Nelson will get open.
Correct.
But
This is actually a great play call on 3rd and 1. It really is, because people like play hard flats. People will play hard flats on 3rd and 1.
Then you just need a little
If you get time in the pocket here, a little bit, and then bang, you just go. And I cannot tell you how many times I've cribbed down that sideline.
Show that setup again.
Verticals, I max protect to block the halfback.
Yeah.
Streak Cook, and then drag B. Now the purpose you streak the streaking Cook, get really aggressive with that middle linebacker. Like, just do something with him and don't pay attention to the streak, basically, right? If you don't pay attention to him, like, the purpose is to go there. And now the other hook drop back, but that's the purpose of it. That's another great route that attacks. I think for cover 2 man, you actually cross man, you want to put him on the fade. But in that instance, the fade there does the same thing. Where you can snap throw it. It's great against the cross man cover 2s of the world. The Adams route, I haven't really found that it's a great route. It's a route that sometimes can get open near that right sideline, but it's not the same route it has been over the years.
Yeah.
But primarily, you're looking for this as a great way to attack vertically right there. That's your route. That's the baby. Against cover 2, one of the best ways to attack cover 2 in the entire game. I've run it time and time again this year.
Boom.
Great success with it.
All right, Packers playbook. That's 2 plays so far, coming out in curl flat. They're gun bunch weak. And then looking at the play verticals, which is a quick audible that people have definitely run against you before. What's their run audible from this formation, and is it a good one?
Yeah, the run audible is run audible down. It's halfback base. You can get to it by hitting the audible button, which is X on Xbox One, and it's square on PlayStation 4. And then you flick the right stick down. That'll get you into halfback base. This is hands down one of the best runs in the game. You want to have a lot of patience with it. You really want to cut this back up inside the guard. Your tendency is going to be this. Your tendency is going to go, oh, get outside. But see how there's no one there to pick up that one man? It'll then be up to you to have one man to beat. Now, depending on your halfback, that can be a good thing. If you got LeGarrette Blount's of the world, you got battle-ready guys of the world, it can be a good thing. But you primarily want to be really patient with this run and try to cut it back up inside. An MO of the way people play defense is to drop DNs into coverage, drop DNs into man, things like that. And when you end up doing that, this run can be really effective, especially if they do it off the left-hand side of the screen. And as you can see, look at the push we get here. And it's a great run just to force your opponent to respect the ground game from here. And if you want to mix things else up, you can also go to the halfback draw from this set.
Yes, you could come out in the draw if you really think that they're cross-manning players, because then with the draw, it's a little easier, because watch my gentleman. Against the draw, they would run, you'd have time, and then you could cut it back out right. That is one way people do it. You'd be able to get back out to that right side with the draw because the handoff takes much longer. So that's the run play from the Green Bay. Now, what else is there? PA post was one of the plays that a lot of the competitors said, if I'm new, give me one play that will make me better, everyone said PA post.
Yep.
PA post.
So when you take a look at PA post, this is the quick audible. And what's great about this scheme is that you have a very powerful play in curl flat corner. We haven't even talked about Z-spot. I don't necessarily know how much we need to break it down. But you come out in curl flat corner, great way to attack to the left sideline. Now, PA post gives you a great way to attack to the right sideline. What you're going to want to do on this play as a base setup, there's a ton of setups with this, but your base number one setup is to drag the tight end, and then you can do a number of things with the halfback. You can block him for extra protection, and I even kind of like putting him on a quick little in to the left side of the field. Now, what's also really great about this is you can motion Nelson out, and even since that latest patch, you can motion him out, and he'll still run the slant quick. It won't be delayed. So that's what's really good about this play. And what ends up happening is with the routes on this play is you create a high-low like corner strike style of setup with this play. So the right side of the field, the drag to the tight end will get over in time to the right side of the field, which will help open up the corner, or it'll give you the drag. So depending on what you get and what you read, like right there, guy came in quick, but what happens is the corner, your defender is going to drift and drop away to the corner, and then I'll be able to throw the drag underneath in this instance right here. He drifts away, and then there's all that space right there to deliver that strike to the cook, right over to the right side of the field, get upfield for a 10-yard gain. Now, if you were to play man, or if you were to play hard flat, for instance, in this here, play a hard flat. You play hard flats. Now I should be able to open up and be able to throw this route to B, because you can see, or to Cobb, because now the hard flat pays attention to the drag underneath. So this is a great way to almost like to have a corner strike built in to your scheme without actually calling corner strike. And then on top of it, you have a really tough route to defend over the middle of the field with all these little short crossers, the quick drag, the quick slant. You then have this route that's really difficult to defend. With big body receiver. It's like a Z-spot style route. When your opponent starts clamping down on everything underneath, it becomes really difficult to defend. And a great way to do that is if you put Cook on an in rather than a drag, you want to go to the post. That in to Cook will keep him at bay a little bit longer, and then you have that whole middle of the field really good to attack those cover two style defenses. So really great play, really powerful play as a quick audible from this set. Now the last play, Farls.
Packers playbook, still breaking down the gun bunch.
Not the last play that you have in your arsenal, but the last quick audible you have. This is called stick. And what I like about this by default is that you have one of those ever so popular corners on the far left that you can motion out and dot towards that sideline.
Yeah.
Now they're not as effective as they were in the beginning of the year because the motion's now delayed a little bit. But you can still have a lot of success with this if you're facing, you don't want to throw these against cover 2, but if you get any type of variety of man and any variety of cover 3, these are really effective. So in this instance, as far as you go to a cover 3, what ends up happening is...
Not yet. I am in it, sir. It's a show 2, but it is a cover 3.
Because the guy doesn't know his audibles. Right there, you can see against the cover 3 how effective that is towards that sideline. Now, I also have theories out here that if you go back to a cover 3 again, RB.
Nah, I don't want to give you Mabel.
That's fine.
Because I will lock you down with the Mabel, son.
So what ends up happening is, I still think you can throw this. See, you have to wait it's a little longer of a throw. Like you can't snap throw it. But what I found is you can still have success with this throw. You just got to have more time in the pocket, more patience, and you become a little bit more of a one-throw read with the play because you're really waiting. Like your other routes are going to develop, but you're really waiting for that corner to get to the sideline, and then you're going to deliver it to them. So corner strike, this play right here, stick, great play. And what I really like about this, I think the most underrated thing about this play in general is the following. I actually like to go to this play in 3rd and long, 3rd and 20, and here's why. So I will max protect, which blocks my halfback and tight end, and I'll usually leave it that way, especially because they're bringing pressure. Then what I like to do is I will smart route the X route, which will make him go all the way to the first down line, and it's a devastating read. You motion him out same way, and you deliver the dart. That's your number one read. Then the next thing you do is you put A and smart route him. He'll run to this first down line, and the beautiful thing about that route is that route runs the perfect route based on the coverage every single time. So if you get time in the poly pocket, A should always be open. This is not always be closing. This is ABO. Always be open, Farls.
Because he's on a smart route, so he's either going to sit
option route, smart
or
option route.
go over, depending on the coverage. I like that.
Now, the next thing I do, I just want to keep them at bay. I want to make sure that they don't forget about the far right side guy. I will put Cobb on an out and smart route it, and that's just a bailout. Sometimes I'll fade them, and it could be Randy Moss, and I'll just say, that's my guy. I just chuck up and pray to if I have no read. And then the last thing I'll do, depending on whether or not I get a read or not of their defense, of their blitz, or their coverage, what they're doing, I'll place Cook, and I'll put him on an in and smart route him. Because usually he runs 20 yards, they'll think he's going to run a seam, and then when he stops at that yard line and bang, cuts over,
it, right?
It's really effective. Yeah. So here's what ends up happening. I'll motion the play. They're only going to run 10 yards here, and you're covered 2. But watch A. He's going to turn, and he's going to sit. And see how there's a small window. That's where, like, gunslinger is important. My read was off there.
Well, also
you gotta
more
throw it
distance,
before.
too.
More distance will really help there, too. But that's what's great about that play. We'll do it again. Motion him out here. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, we lost the little paddle right there.
What-oh.
Back in, though.
All right, here we go. So you got to have a good, crisp read. You know he's going to turn, and then you sit. Again, 2 picks in a row. But more time, you got to trust it. I know we said it before. How many times we tell you to trust the Z-spot route? You got to trust it. Trust it, trust it, trust it. It's really an effective way to attack against those zone coverages. And the last thing I'll say, Farls, those are your quick audibles. Those are all your plays at your disposal. You still have other plays in here that are really effective to use. Let's not forget about corner strike. We talked a little bit about that, how you run the right side. You have a corner, vice versa. Then you have Z-spot, really effective. Inside cross, really effective against man-to-man because of the halfback route. We'll show that real quick. I think it's important to show.
Very important.
So if you get man-to-man, why this is really important against man is the primary read is the halfback. He's on a dragon route, and he just burns man. Like, he just toasts him. Like, it's a free X number of yards if you get just stock man. And now your next read off of that is now the corner pattern. Now you have a corner pattern off the right side. Randall corner the Cobb, you throw a left trigger throw to the sideline, and you're going to have some success there. So right there, he breaks to the sideline, throw it low and away, he catches it, another easy read. Now, you then have the drag that cuts over the middle of the field. It's a stalled drag, so it won't get pressed, and then he cuts wide open.
Juicy.
Very easy of a read.
I tell you what, people are starting to go back to man-to-man a little bit because the teams in Ultimate Team are getting very good at that type of scheme, right? You have Champ Bailey out there, 96-man coverage. Other players, 96-man coverage. So super clutch man defense is coming up. So having a play like this with that halfback route, with a drag, with a C route.
And then the deep in works very well against man as well. So this is one of the best plays. I would not necessarily recommend this against zone. This is like a primary, like, you get into a matchup and you're expecting zone, but you then get man. Like, okay, in your back pocket, you know you got a great way to beat man-to-man, and that's what this play brings to you. Now, your couple other plays and the way you want to run this scheme, I want to show you a couple other things that you can do to have success from here, because that's what we do here on This Week in Madden. Farls, we're going to move the rock up all the way up into the red zone. Is that cool with you?
Red zone play?
Is that cool with you?
I need it, son.
Is that cool with you?
I need it.
All right.
Remember, D. Jones was in the Packers book during the initial event in Draft Champs. So if you guys watched him play, we're not even, he didn't really go to gun bunch much. Everyone else ran gun bunch. He just ran all these other plays.
Right.
We're showing you the gun bunch because we believe it's the best gun bunch in the game in this Packers book specifically. But there's a whole other bevy of plays you can run from this playbook as well.
So we've showed this many times before in the earlier part of the year. But what I like to do is the quick audible stick, quick audible up. You have this route to Nelson. Rather than motion him out left, I like to motion him to the right side of the field. You want to make sure this guy has some height. He sets, he gets there, and then when he cuts over the middle of the field, you throw a high point pass, and you take advantage of his height, his catching traffic, his ability to get in the back of the end zone. You throw a LB pass, which will deliver a streak and put the ball only where he can get it.
A little high point LB.
Yep, and it becomes a really successful way to attack in the red zone. So let's show you that one more time. Motion him over. Man zone doesn't really matter, but once he gets over there, he's going to a little bit delayed. He gets in the back of the end zone. Really difficult to defend. I've probably thrown 1,000 of these this year. Probably caught 950 of them. Probably had 10 of them picked, and probably had 50 of them, whatever the rest of that math is, incomplete. That's, roughly that's how effective it is, right? Probably not that, those aren't the numbers, but it's really effective. So now a flip side of that, you want to make sure that your middle receiver, in this case it's Adams, you don't want to have that be a really tall receiver. And this play works off of your previous play, stick. So you're going to motion over Jordy Nelson. Now he runs the drag. Now you want this time to throw to Adams. He got pressed there. Whoever that was just destroyed off that right edge.
Sauced him up.
Yeah?
I don't know what is happening. There you go.
Hey,
sauced him up.
Sauced him off the edge there for me.
Give me the zone look.
Yeah, give me the zone look there, and then we'll motion him over. And what we're looking for here is when Adams cuts over the middle of the field, it gives us another one of those routes that's just really tender back of the end zone. That was a terrible throw by Rodgers. He didn't even throw it in his direction.
Needed more of those last week.
Yeah,
Needed
audible
more
zone.
of those last week.
Audible zone. And here we go. He's going to run over the middle of the field right there, and then, again, terrible throw. You got to trust that again as well. It gives you another option. It's the same idea. You want to get to the back of the end zone to deliver that ball, and it's a really effective way because your opponent's going to go to the motion.
Yeah.
Pay attention to that, but then
Yeah.
you hit on the opposite side. It's a cat and mouse game, and that's the whole point of what you're doing. And guys, don't forget, just for fun, what this formation gives you in this Green Bay Packers. You ready for it, Farles? You got 2 screens, just for fun.
Well, this is great.
Just for fun, both sides of the field. Just for fun.
Excellent. Which one do you prefer?
The X screen, the screen to the right.
Because it's built, I mean, it's building up. They're going to be so looking towards the bunch that you want it to leak out to the right. Plus, I bet that route on the right side you could throw if the screen gets usered. Although you could probably definitely throw those routes across the middle a little bit.
The Y route, the halfback cross screen is actually a really good play if you don't throw the screen, because you can just go right here, like you can throw the drag. So that's actually a better play overall because it gives you more options. What I find is that what ends up happening, watch Starks, he'll stop short. Like I want to throw to him and then he kind of like stops short right there, and then you can kind of get into weird situations like you want him to keep going. Or what I find is like sometimes I'll be like, I'll want to throw it and I throw it to him like right there, and then he like gets kind of caught in the mud. They're still really good. It's great to have a screen left and a screen right. It gives you extra plays to make your opponent have to worry about, where most of these formations don't have both of them.
I would say if you guys are new to this and you're just picking up Madden, say after Christmas, and you're like, man, they're making some adjustments, I'm not sure, you got to make sure you go through the skills trainer, because all of the new zones in this year's game make beating defense pretty challenging. But with all the plays we just showed you in this Packers playbook, if you go back and review them, you'll have a play for everything. What you should be doing, you should be calling PA post 3 times a half. Honestly, because it's going to help you pick up pressure. You should be calling a screen once per half.
Definitely.
Once one way, once the other way per half. If you're new and just getting started, then those C routes, you should be calling those 3 times per half, not including PA post, so to play corner strike. If you do that from this gun bunch and you get in practice mode, you're going to feel really confident. And then anytime you see them start to go to like say cover 4, or they go to like dollar and they're dropping everybody back, that's when you want to add the run game in, the halfback base. So that's 15 plays to get you scripted and started.
Let me show a quarter strike real quick.
And you're looking really good for your offense, and especially if you're a beginner.
So let me show you. This is the way I run the corner strike. It's a great play. It's one of the best plays in the game. It's my base play. This is the play I come out in. So what I do is I put A on a in, and I put RB on an out. And if you remember the curl flat play where we put the tight end on an out, and then we had the deep corner, like that combo. What I find here is this route to RB like gets under, and you can snap throw it like that. In that instance, you're in cover 2. Like
a hard flat there.
Yeah, if you're in cover 3 again, you're going to be able to throw that route as he gets over, because that buzz zone is going to have to find who he wants to go to and see how he drifts. And then once he drifts, you can deliver that out to the sideline. Now, the corner, its primary objective is you can motion him out, still have success. You got to wait for him. That's fine. Patience isn't a bad thing. But in this instance right there, okay, those routes are covered. I now go over to the middle of the field. I make a read over the middle of the field. And then what I like about it, your fail-safe, is your reads on the right side of the field, where you can throw the flat. There it is, throw the flat. You see how the safety didn't come down in time? I throw the flat for down to the 40, so what, a 10-yard or 5-yard gain. Now, if you play a hard flat, you're basically what I'm forcing you to do is have a Mabel on the right side of the field, and that's really hard to do. Is have Mabels on both sides of the field, and as you can see, if you play hard flats, the corner gets open behind it. So that's what makes this corner strike play so difficult to defend. And one thing else you can note is if you did get like the cover 2 cross man, like you can always remember fade the tight end. Like cover 2 cross man. The number one read that I've seen, and I saw Skimbo do this to perfection in the Madden Classic, the fade to the tight end, and he just would dart that ball. You didn't set it up anywhere near where it needed to be.
Yeah, I didn't blitz and all that.
Correct.
But it's the only place I get beat is when there's trips to one side. They just quick throw a seam route, and I'm like, God.
It's the fade. Well,
it's how it works. It makes me.
Let me see this real quick.
Frustrates me, but that is how it works.
So the reason why it works, guys, is the following, right? So why does it get open? Because what ends up happening in cover 2 cross man is they'll take these slot hooks and they man them up on the opposite side of the field players, and that's why it's called cross man, because you're playing zone coverage and you're then crossing up the coverage behind it. We've still been doing Twim for 8 years, still can't solve the batteries. Real tender on that controller. So show the play art there, Farles. So and then user the one hook, because that's how people do. They user the one hook. So in this instance now you have no other zones to protect against it, and then their user is aggressive on drags and whatnot on the middle of the field, and then you have that throw. Then that throw opens. So that's a very meta throw. I would really not suggest that for somebody that might just be playing organically online. Like, it's probably not good, like the zones will cover it. You're going to have all these zones that will run deep with the vertical. All the new great zone coverages in this year's game will cover that. But in the meta of competitive Madden, that is a great option for attacking one of the most popular style of defenses. I might have to go get those batteries.
They might be ready by now.
Yeah.
They might be ready.
And then don't forget, guys, you also have Z-Spot. We've broken that down a million times, so I don't think we need to really break it down. But let's just show that one route, the deep post, because it's the other area of the field you need to target. Z-Spot.
We talked about the one specific area with a drag, like once it crosses, hitting it right between the numbers. But then this last specific area on Z-Spot, it's just the backbreaker. Like, you need it. Like, if they go anywhere away from it, you have to hit it.
So here's what we do on this play. I max protect, again, to block the halfback. Then I will drag the tight end cook, and then I put Nelson on an in. And then if I get man or some type of variety there, you can throw to Adams. But you want to look to the drag or you want to look to the in, and then the route you're really trying to throw is that B route right there. And it's a left trigger.
Alshon Jeffrey, Kelvin Benjamin.
That is a left trigger throw, and I throw that with a 3 o'clock pass lead. A 3 o'clock pass lead is what I throw that with. So here's again. So right when it gets about here, it's right about there. It's that gives me the throw right in the middle of the field to cut it off, and then you aggressive catch it. You want to run this with a receiver that's at least 6'3", has at least 90 spectacular catch, and has at least 90 catch in traffic. If you're not doing it with those guys, you're not going to maximize your results with the play.
Show the out route. Do you have an out route there?
What do you mean?
Is there an in and an out?
Right here.
Yeah, show it, because Larry can't never throw it.
What can't throw what?
The in.
The in here?
Yeah.
It depends on the defense.
What do you like it against?
Right there. Like it's if the drag clears out the zone, or if the user middle linebacker clears out, that route's going to be wide open. Like, do this for me. Show me your defense. Take that middle linebacker, the mid read. Go bail and defend the Z spot route. Oh, okay. Z spot's coming.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is that delayed in wide open.
Got it.
Wide open. That's the purpose of it. So let me explain the purpose of each route on this play, just so people are aware. Your main read, your progression goes like this. Snap. Okay, I'm going to throw there on first down. Okay, picked up. Okay, I picked up 8 yards, right? Okay, it's 2nd and 2, right? So now I go 2nd and 2. This time now, okay, the drag, I could throw it. Oh, I want to check down underneath quickly because the zone's drift away. Okay, now it's first down. Okay, now you get a little bit more aggressive and you're going to clamp down and take away the short reads. Okay, user the short reads. Oh, wait in the pocket, deliver the ball. Cobb, huge game. Now, in 3 plays, I'm down the field in 40 yards. I mean, that's the idea. That's what you want to do. You don't want to think on this play Z-spot first. Like, you're doing it wrong.
Yes,
you're
you do.
Doing it wrong.
Yes, you do.
No, you're doing it wrong.
You want 30.
You're doing it wrong.
30, son.
You're doing it wrong.
You want
if you're
30.
Doing that. And then don't forget, you can always put the halfback on the in.
Yeah, you can.
Halfback on the in.
Drift,
he'll drift, and you can see.
Underneath.
Yeah, really
Bang.
good. Boom.
I like it.
Guys, that right there is the single best bunch formation scheme you're going to find in the game. And that's based off of the number of audibles that are your presets. That's based off of the number of plays at your disposal that you have available to you. My next recommendation for you would be the West Coast playbook. And then I would also say the third best bunch, the Denver Broncos.
Now we got one more question in the chat.
Yeah.
It's from the man himself, Rex. He wants to know that Z-spot route takes too much time in the pocket. So what if they send heavy pressure? Where are you looking off of this
Depends.
play?
So depends. Here, we'll do this. Let me see the defense.
I could set up a little
I want you to set it up.
Play called...
For sure, absolutely.
You know.
All right. So defensively, what playbook are you in?
So I have the 2-4-5.
Go Buck Slant. Buck Slant for me.
All right.
So what I would do, what I love about Gun Bunch, and this is one of the reasons why it's a great formation.
What about Rams Bunch? But let's get
Same thing. This is what's great about Gun Bunch is you have a halfback to your right of you and you have a tight end to the left of you. So in theory, you should be able to pick up everything. So that's why we say max protect is usually always our first adjustment, because that then gives us the ability to go back and say, like retroactively look and say, look at the defense. Oh God, they're sending a heavy blitz. I'm gonna keep 7 in the block. That's one option, right? So what I would do off of that is I would do this. I would either put Nelson on an in, or I'd just put him on a drag and I'd run it as is. Or you could do something on the variety like drag Adams and put Nelson on in, lose that corner. Max protect was 7. Base a line for me, Farrell. Set it up properly. Get the slot corner out there.
Throw him out wide.
Yep. Can you crash out for me too?
Crash it out.
And put a user him. Yeah.
User him. All right.
Yep. Or you could crash down the other way. It depends. Whatever.
I
you want
slid
to do.
my line. So.
Okay. Cool. So you want to user that blitzing guy too. So in this instance here, now you hang in the pocket. Tight end picks it up. You got time in the poly pocket. Deliver the strike to corner on the cob. I mean that's the thing. Again, you got to pick up the pressure. I would say always. I would say that's a big time question that people always ask. They say, well, that play is going to work really good, man. But what happens when they send the blitz? Okay, well, when they send the blitz, it's your job to pick it up. Now, have you picked a formation that gives you the ability to pick that pressure up? Would be my next question to you. And then then you go back to why in the very beginning, why we said that it's the best formation in the game. It's the best formation in the game because it allows you to pick up pressure off the left edge and the right edge, without a doubt.